So the duality of man. We're all made up of these two parts. We have these down. We need to know these. According to Jung, our personalities express themselves in two distinct ways. One of them is the persona. And the persona we've talked a lot about actually so far. It's that face that you show the world. The word persona actually means mask. So the persona is the mask that you wear that you show the rest of the world. If you want people to think that you're nice, then you behave nicely. Maybe you're not, but you just pretend to be. Whatever it is that you show the world, that's your persona. And then you have the shadow. And the shadow exists largely in your unconscious. But it's the aspects of your personality that you don't want to show the world. So if you are, let's say, for example, you have this impulse. The example I used yesterday was, let's say you have an impulse to kill something, to kill someone. And then when that person enters the room, you go, I want to kill you. And then you stop yourself, like, no, I shouldn't be thinking that. That's bad. That's your shadow kind of popping out and exposing itself. Does anybody know where this helmet is from? Anybody recognize that? Curiosity. Yeah, Full Metal Jacket. It's from a movie called Full Metal Jacket. Anything seem strange to you about it? Peace sign. And what else? Born to kill. So, which is it? Are you born to kill, or are you a hippie? Yes. There's a guy in the movie named, call him Private Joker, because he's a private, and the movie's about Vietnam, being in the Vietnam War. And there's a guy named Private Joker, and they call him that because he makes a lot of jokes. And so he's wearing this helmet, and they're out in the field, and they come across a mass grave. So he's sitting there, and they're like staring at this mass grave, and then a colonel walks up and sees him and starts to address him. So when that happens, he kind of snaps to attention, and he asks, the colonel asks him, sir, son, what's with that helmet? He's like, sir, what about it, sir? He's very direct, very kind of dry answers, and he says, you wrote born to kill, and you're wearing a peace button. He goes, sir, yes, sir. He goes, is that some kind of a sick joke? Sir, no, sir. What is it supposed to mean? He says, sir, I don't know, sir. And he just basically tells him, you better figure it out, or else you're going to be court-martialed. So Private Joker says, sir, I guess I was referring to the duality of man. The Jungian thing. And the colonel just stands there, he has no idea what the hell he's talking about. He goes, son, whose side are you on? Our side, sir. Because he doesn't know how to respond to it. So for the colonel, everything has to be divided into that, very black and white kind of view of the world. So the question is, are you born to kill, or are you a peacenik? Probably for most people the answer is yes. And maybe not as extreme as born to kill and being a peacenik, but other aspects, are you a liar or are you honest? Yes, probably. Yeah. Are you happy or are you depressed? Yes. Most of us are these things. There's a duality going on. There's a persona that we show the world, and then there's these other aspects of it that reside in our shadows that we don't show the world. Those are those negative impulses that you have, the parts that you don't want to show off to people because you think they're going to think that you're strange. So for Jung, a lot of our neuroses, a lot of our mental health problems come from this complete separation that we make. We separate the shadow from the persona, and never the two should meet. For Jung, the way that you become mentally well balanced is you take your shadow and you integrate it into your persona. In other words, you acknowledge those aspects of yourself. Because when your shadow all of a sudden bubbles over and you have like a terrible thought that you then try to suppress, understand that when you suppress things, they don't go away. They just go back into the unconscious, and eventually they're going to burst out again. If we're looking at archetypes of characters, you've got someone like Batman. Batman has a persona that he shows the world. He's Bruce Wayne. But then he's also got this shadow side of himself, which is Batman. He integrates the two, though, and that's how he stays sane. Now, which character in that series has no persona, and it's just shadow? The Joker. The Joker is all shadow, all negativity, all the stuff that we want to hide from the rest of the world. So when you see Batman and the Joker fighting, that's what it is. It's an expression of the persona and the shadow always fighting it out because they don't integrate. What you want to do is, the word's called individuate. Individuate. Individuation. Individuation. Individuation is the process of assimilating your shadow and your persona. Assimilate your shadow and your persona. Individuation. This is how it is that you avoid things like mental distress. This is how you avoid things like depression. This is how you avoid all kinds of mental health issues. Because if you keep your shadow and your persona separate, and they're always fighting it out, that means that you're always at war with yourself in your own mind. So the way to become mentally healthy is to integrate the two, your persona and your shadow. That doesn't mean that you therefore go out and kill everybody because you're boring to kill. What that means is you acknowledge it to yourself. I'm the kind of a person who is capable of this. But I'm the person who chooses to be this. So now you've acknowledged it, you've assimilated it, you know it about yourself. You know? It's kind of like, have you ever heard, I'm sure you've heard stuff like this, like someone gets angry and then they punch a wall, and then afterwards, there's a hole in the wall and they're like, I don't know why I did that, that's not me. That's not me. Yes, it is you. It is you. And one of the reasons you punch the wall is because you're trying to suppress that part of yourself. Because if you actually individuate and you recognize, you know what, that is me. That's me under those very specific circumstances. That doesn't mean you walk around and you punch a wall all the time. What it means is that when you get in an argument and you can't control your anger, that's what you do. So now, if you know that about yourself, what can you do? You find yourself in a situation where you become very angry, remove yourself from it. Don't allow yourself to be in a situation where someone is just antagonizing you and making you angry. Walk away from it. Because if not, you're going to be the person who punches the wall. But you can't do that unless you know that about yourself. And unless you accept it about yourself. That doesn't mean you have to be happy about it. But just realize, for whatever reason, I am that person who punches walls when I get angry. So therefore, I don't want to punch walls. I have to remove myself from situations where I get angry. If you're somebody who's prone to cheating on people in relationships, how do you cheat? Like, the only way you cheat is if you have an opportunity to do it. That means you have to keep yourself out of those opportunities. When someone invites you over and you know that there might be something there, don't lie to yourself. Don't suppress it and say, no, we're just friends. You know? Don't continue to message people that you know. You might say, oh, we're just messaging, we're just friends. Maybe you are. Maybe you are. Possible. But if you're not, stop trying to suppress it and say, oh, we're just friends. Acknowledge it. I'm the kind of person who's prone to cheating. Now you can start to figure out why. What is it about you that you're the kind of person who's prone to cheating? Is it because, you might realize it's because you lack self-esteem, because maybe when you were younger you didn't get enough attention, and now when anybody gives you attention, you throw yourself at them. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's insecurity, because the person you're with, you think that they're going to leave you any moment, so you're hedging your bets and thinking about maybe I can go to somebody else if this person leaves me. That might mean that you're a person who's afraid to be alone. And now you can start to examine yourself and figure out, why is it that I do that? Why is it that I'm afraid of being alone? Why is it that I have trust issues where I don't trust this person? I think they might leave me, so I'm looking for alternatives. Now you can start to really figure yourself out and figure your life out. But if you're constantly suppressing it, you can't do that. So this is the process of individuation. Acknowledge these things about yourself so that you can become the person that you want to be, not the person who experience has made you into.